I was wrong. At the end of 2021, I quit my $100,000 job as a lawyer to pursue entrepreneurship. Like many of us in our 20s, I had a dream of being my own boss, to have full control over my time, how much I earned, and the contribution I provided to the world. Quitting your job and being your own boss sounds sexy, but it's not all rainbows and butterflies, and that's certainly what I've realized. Social media is a highlight reel and people only post the highs, but in this video, I want to expose the truth. I want to pull back the curtains and be as transparent as possible with you guys so you can see what it's actually like to embark on the path less traveled. Well, after graduating from law school in 2018, I started working as a lawyer. During that same time, I discovered a passion for filmmaking and I started a videography side hustle with my best friend Jason. After working as a lawyer for 3 years, I decided to quit at the end of 2021 to start my very own video production company. And here are 3 things that I was wrong about since quitting my job. We've all heard of the saying, find a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life. And I genuinely believed that when I was working my 9-to-5 job. When I got my first camera in 2019, I fell in love with filmmaking and I was thinking to myself, how cool would it actually be if someone was willing to pay me to make videos for them? But my 9-to-5 job actually provided something very invaluable to me that I only realized after I had quit. When I had a real job, I'd wake up at 7 a.m, start work at 8 a.m, finish around 7 p.m, and then from 8 p.m. to midnight, I'd be editing videos. On the weekends, instead of going out and being a weekend warrior, I was hustling. I was doing about 3 to 5 shoots on the weekend and continually getting better at my craft. It was extremely hard and I was pretty much working like an animal, but I loved it. Because I was passionate about what I was doing. There was a fire within me. Every day when I finished work, I couldn't wait to start working on my side hustle and keep improving as a filmmaker. Now since I've quit my job, things feel a little bit different. What used to be a fun little side project now feels like there's a lot more pressure on me to make it successful because it's become my quote unquote career. I used to be the successful lawyer working in the big end of town, earning a 6-figure salary, who also happened to be a pretty good filmmaker. And even though I think I'm pretty good at shutting out the opinions and comments of others, I would be lying to you to say that it doesn't to some degree chip away at me over time. It is a constant mental struggle of whether or not I made the right decision to leave a well-respected, high-paying job to pursue something that I'm passionate about. Because when you start getting paid for what you love doing, you might not like it as much. When I was working my 9-to-5 job and landing these $1,000 video projects on the side, I was ecstatic. I was doing these projects because I enjoyed it, not because I had to do it to make a living. However, since I'm doing it full-time these days and it's become my primary source of income, it kind of feels like it's become a matter of survival. Now, when I decide whether or not to take on a project, I have to think about the good of the business rather than just my own enjoyment and curiosity. Is this project financially viable for the business? Is this project really going to help us get to where we want to go long term? There's a lot more things that I have to consider nowadays as opposed to when I was doing this on the side and I could just do whatever projects seemed fun to me. Okay, so now moving on to my second realization, which was around money. When I was working full-time as a lawyer, I got paid a $100,000 plus salary. At the same time, I was also working on a videography side hustle with my best friend Jason, and on average, that side hustle made us about $10,000 to $15,000 per month in extra income. And I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty good, but I had to work extremely hard to get there. And this allowed me to save and invest my money pretty aggressively because I wasn't much of a spender. In some months, I'd actually even make more from my side hustle than my 9-to-5 job, which at the time was just insane for me. And so when I was making the decision whether or not to quit my job, this was kind of my thought process. Okay, I'm spending about 40 to 60 hours a week on this job and earning about $8,000 per month. I'm only spending about 20 hours on this side hustle, which is almost making the same amount of money. So if I give up the job and I reallocate that time to the side hustle, I'm probably going to be able to make 3 times more. Pretty logical, right? It's just pure math. Just a disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor. The figures that I'm going to share with you guys in this section are just purely figures from my own journey and my own thought process on the money that I was earning. And so this should definitely not be considered financial advice. But nowadays, since I'm running my business, this is how I view my finances. The business makes a certain amount of money per month, and then Jason and I pay ourselves a small portion of that as part of our salary, and then whatever's left of that gets left in the business for things like reinvesting in our own education and learning, investing in contractors or potentially employees in the future. And so it was a massive mindset shift that I'm still trying to get used to be honest. By choice, my personal income has significantly reduced from when I was working a 9-to-5 job and also earning side income. Luckily, because I don't really spend too much money anyways, it hasn't really had much of an impact on my lifestyle. However, it has meant that since I've quit my job, I don't have as much money to personally invest. Over time, what I've realized is that I'm just reinvesting that money in another way, which is into myself and into my own business. The more you invest in yourself, the more skills you'll have and the higher your earning capacity will be in the long term. Once you learn a skill that allows you to add value to the marketplace, no one can ever take that away from you. Even if you lost everything tomorrow, you would still have the skills to rebuild everything back up. Now, moving on to the third realization that I've had since quitting my job, which was around time. When I was working my 9-to-5 job and doing videography as a side hustle, I was literally working every single minute of the day. And at the time, I thought that if I quit my job and start working on my business full time, I'm gonna be able to gain back a huge chunk of time, earn more money, and even have some leftover time to relax and do fun things. Because the fact is, when I was working my 9-to-5 job, I was actually a really good employee. Whenever I was told to do something, I would do it efficiently and at a very high standard on a consistent basis. And my days were extremely structured. I had tasks that I needed to do during my day job, and after work I had videos that I needed to edit, and then on the weekends I had projects to shoot. I was like a super efficient robot, and even though I had heaps to do, because of my strong work ethic and my discipline, I thrived in that environment. And because I was so disciplined and efficient with my time, I actually still managed to find time for fun things such as going on date nights with my girlfriend Gemma, hanging out with family and doing exercise such as soccer on the weekends and also the gym. Once I quit my job and started working for myself, all of a sudden I had this huge chunk of time which I didn't know what to do with. We started our video production business because we love filmmaking, but we had very little experience of how to actually run a business and what we actually needed to spend our time on. This resulted in us wasting a lot of time doing things that, number one, didn't contribute to us earning more money or just didn't move us to where we wanted to go long term. I started procrastinating a lot more than I ever had before in my life because I wasn't sure whether the things that I was working on was actually moving the needle. And this experience has really dispelled my initial belief that in order to do something better, you just need more time. Because sometimes when you're given too much time to do something, the less efficient you are. And I definitely found this to be the case when I made the transition from a 9-to-5 job to entrepreneurship. I had no clear roadmap on where I was going or what I actually needed to do. I was kind of like a lost puppy in the park, just sniffing around, but not really sure what he was sniffing for. Having now run my business full time for 1 year, it's something that I'm starting to get a little bit better at. And the way that I say it, the time that I spent doing things that didn't actually work out wasn't a waste of time. It was time that I spent on learning how to become a better entrepreneur, a better business person, a better filmmaker. Entrepreneurship is not like university. There's no right or wrong answers or a clear path to success. It's a constant process of trial and error until you find something that works. Everyone has 24 hours in a day, and what separates the really successful entrepreneurs from the ones who fail is really just how well they allocate their time. And so this is an aspect that we're definitely working on improving significantly in as we enter the second year of entrepreneurship. Up to this point in life, I've followed a set path that was laid out for me. Go to school and get good grades, get a high-paying job, and climb up the corporate ladder. It was structured, it was clear, and because I had discipline and a strong work ethic, I thrived in that environment. But now, it's completely different. I'm back to square one, and I feel like I'm a complete novice when it comes to being an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship can suck. One moment you can feel on top of the world, and then the next moment your mind is filled with a million doubts and you're thinking to yourself, am I really cut out for this? It's a path where I have countless times felt like I have absolutely no idea where I'm going. And so coming back to the elephant in the room, do I regret quitting my $100,000 plus job as a lawyer? No, I don't have any regrets. What scared me about working in the corporate world was seeing people in their 50s and 60s who had been in the same job, the same industry, doing the same thing for 40 years. I didn't want to reach retirement and look back at my life and think to myself, man, I've just been a lawyer for 40 years of my life. There were so many other things out there that I was curious about and wanted to try. And after quitting my job and meeting people from all different industries, I've realized that there's actually so many other occupation career paths that I had no idea even existed before. There's so many other things that I'm thinking of trying down the line, such as maybe becoming a full-time YouTuber, running an online business, opening up my own restaurant, or even a hostel. And so if you think that the only career path for you is whatever you studied during university, you are wrong. If you are willing to learn and work hard, the options are limitless. These days, you can literally go on YouTube, learn a skill, and start making $10,000 or more in 6 months' time or a year's time. And once you start approaching life with this perspective that everything is actually possible if you're willing to put in the work, the world becomes your oyster. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you found this video valuable, make sure to give it a like. Subscribe to our channel if you want more content like this. Hit the notification bell button so you get notified every time we post a new video. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at jonoandjason@gmail.com. If you're interested, we also have an email newsletter, link in the description box down below. In our newsletter, we go a little bit deeper into our journey of how we went from complete beginners to now running our own video production company full time. We'd love to have you in the community. And with that, thank you again for staying to the very end. We'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.